Bratmore gang, say it ain't so, man. They're saying that the Kardashian family apparently have ties to Jeffrey Epstein. They're in the Epstein files. It's not a drill, all right? Apparently, they're in the Epstein files, okay? Allegedly, in my opinion, I don't want to get sued. I know they got a lot of bread. But people, I'm going to break it all down to you in this video. They are saying the Kardashians are in the files. What the hell? I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired of this. So look, let's just get into it. Let's just take a little look-see, all right? This is going around on X. There are some allegations, all right? There's some allegations. There's some chatter. There's some rumors, all right, that there is a disturbing connection between the Kardashian family, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? And we'll be talking about her in much more detail in an upcoming video. So this is Ryan Rosbiani on X. World news and events, independent analysis. The views are solely his own and don't represent anyone else. And he definitely loves being alive. So this says just in, Kim Kardashian and her sisters have been named in Maxwell victim complaint in Epstein files. A victim complaint submitted in the case tied to Ghislaine Maxwell. And in the case tied to Ghislaine Maxwell alleges connections between Maxwell and members of the Kardashian clan/family. Okay, the complaint claims that Maxwell had a close relationship with the Kardashian sisters and they assisted in the use of the complainant's identity. The filing references rumors that the complainant's eggs were being used for pregnancies, suggesting possible fertility and surrogacy exploitation, though the writer says DNA testing will be required. Now, let's not forget, all right, in previous videos, I covered that Epstein was allegedly starting a baby farm on his New Mexico ranch, the Zorro Ranch. He was talking about he wanted to have 20 women pregnant all at the same time. He was going to have his superior genes spread around the world. Absolute despicable piece of human filth. But Now they're saying it's got a Kardashian connection, and you know they'd be using surrogates. It says it alleges the sisters used the complainant's name and funds to promote business ventures and financial activities. A cosmetics transaction is cited, referencing control tied to Kylie Jenner and a reported $600 million deal. Insanity. It says Kim Kardashian is named in an allegation involving identity competition and issues tied to children. Khloe Kardashian and Kendall Jenner are referenced as having a special interest in the complainant's marriages and name changes. The complaint also links the family to alleged surrogacy and pregnancy-related identity fraud. The complainant notes that they do not possess documentation to substantiate some of these claims, and it requires an investigation by the authorities, okay? And they're even saying the Hadid sisters are involved, but we're going to have to do that in another video, okay? And you got Netanyahu down there as well, all right? I'm not surprised. So there's a whole bunch of emails that were apparently there. Very big email chain. I do actually have the full email exchange here. And of course, you know I'm going to read it. All right, folks, here we go. Look, it is a long email. I'm going to read the whole thing. Buckle up. Get ready to find out about what's going on with the Kardashian family, because this is absolutely wild. Okay, it's wild. You ready? You ready to plug in? Ready to plug into the Matrix? I love being alive. All right. Hello. I would like to forward this email to the District Attorney Audrey Strauss, Acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and to the Attorney General for Victim Human Rights and the Investigation Division of the Office of the Inspection General Office. I would like to open with a clear statement. I've been going through pain and loss of life and joy all those years where the corrupted system was used to take the life of innocent children and the disadvantaged. Nothing will be a proper compensation to all of the suffering and emotional and mental abuse that me and my children were going all those years since 2002 up until now. I've been used kids in different times and episodes that not all is brought to light by a group of powerful, corrupted USA judges, social services, and attorneys Jeff Burke Esquire, Tel Blank, and Nick Donovan Esquire. My story has just begun, and I'm sure it will get to an international audience. It's about to. And it's a shame that for 15 years, I've been dragging myself and my children in countries and cities in order to save my children by the Epstein/blank group. I wonder who this is. The pain is very difficult to carry. And why would you, who are you protecting? By the Epstein and blank group. Who are you protecting? Let's protect them and not the victims. It's insane. Even if this is all cap, protecting the perpetrators like that is insane. They're saying it's a collab. They're saying it's a full-blown collab between Epstein and someone else. Let's redact the name. It's insane. It says the pain is very difficult to carry And for hearing the news lately, I've decided to take the risk and come forward with my story. I guess I'm being brave. I'm fortunate to be educated and to be an attorney who set nights and days to carry this life story and the unjust ice of the judicial system in the United States. I would like to report myself as a victim of a grand crime that was done against me. Humongous redaction. Humongous redaction, and that one's very interesting. Blank, 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 and my 3 children, blank, 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 blank. Essay. Brainwashed. Physical and emotional harms, attempt to inflict bodily harms against me, medical fraud, identity theft, court paper fraud, attempt to arrest unlawfully by providing flash documents, medical reports in order to conceal thief identity, attempt to murder my brother in Israel, and attempt to cause me badly harm, stealing of heritage rights, stealing money and properties, fraud of kids, fraud in medical and pregnancy reports while committing crime against me in order to gain personal financial gain, and unjust ICE enrichment by breaching the fiduciary duty and my human rights. In December 2019, I saw Ghislaine Maxwell in my building, blank, speeding out after getting out of the elevator. I remember her face because she turned around and gave me and my husband, blank, a strong look. It was published that she bought a new house with cash and an LLC was created. After reading in the news, I saw it on the internet that the name blank is connected to the heritage of Mr. Epstein, I believe from his father's side. It was strange, all the coincidences around this. Huge redaction. And it says, what was an obstacle was the letter S and not C, blank. Also in 2015, the case of Martha Bourgeois Esquire. That was a case of fiduciary stealing from a sister that was declared unfit by 2 brothers. This case was from 2015 at the DA of Queens, and she got 5 years. She was released in 2019 and hopes to immediately continue stealing. I saw her in December following me to Chase Bank. I sat with a person named Sandra Baichu and Jose Severino from Chase Bank, 1025 Madison Ave. I was referred to them by an employee of Safra Bank, Sigi Israeli, on 5th Ave. I was looking to find my account. In the bank, they took my driving ID, and I believe they've changed the name blank with blank, another huge redaction, blank. I believe that this change was done illegally by Alan Lazarus, the attorney of Albert Nasser, Israeli citizen, and Jeff Barik office, and Nick Donovan. The attorney Bruce Gottsman, blank, was introduced to me by the notary who notarized the marriage certificates of Jean-Luc Croce. Only now I can understand the way that they have acted. They, Maxwell Kardashian family, I'm assuming that means Kardashian family. Look, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I think if you are making serious allegations, I think that you get the spelling on point, and we're gonna be rocking with you a little bit more. All right, when you spell in the Kardashian name, the Kardashian family, kind of makes me not want to believe that they have abused you since you didn't even manage to get their spelling right. Your theory about them abusing you might not hold water if you're not spelling the name right, but let's keep going. Okay, maybe it was just an accidental typo and this person is going through huge trauma. Okay, I do want to believe victims, but also Kardashian family is insane. And Martha Bourgeois and the S trafficking ring. Now, after 15 years of suffering and filing all reports to save my daughter's life and my son, who had paid in his health and was hospitalized a few times in 2012 till now with a broken nose, and unconscious retaliation of his father, blank, the distress, the pain, the loss of life, and all those who will compensate me and my children. She wants compensation. The corruption of judges Goldstein from the family court in New York City and the Nassau court family Judge Cipotola, who forced me to leave the country to protect blank from SA and blank from cruelty abuse for years. I just wonder where the money from the bribe come from. I just wonder what money where the bribe come from. I personally saw Jeff Barik going and talking with Cipotola, Nassau family court, to convince her to have a court order against me in 2015, just because I wanted to save blank and I was waiting for him in the street, knowing that he's being abused brutally. I had reports from health insurance that I paid for him. I have complaint. And I gave the name of my ex-husband blank long time ago to court and police and the FBI since 2006 and indicated that this is SA. I gave the Attorney General in New York City stating that there is a ring of PDFs. Instead, the judge in Nassau, Cipotola, wanted to arrest me and take blank. So this woman, Maxwell, and her partners will be able to use them while concealed the thief identity. I was looking for explanation how this is going so many years, and I wrote to FOIA in 2014 to see if there's another social security number that's being used by others under my name. Need some Red Bull to get through this one. The answer was negative, and I didn't get another social security number. Today, after research and the aggregation of documents and fraud in my New York State ID and all fraud in city social services and health insurance files in the government offices that done by others against me, I've concluded that and now understand and believe that somewhere in the history of the United States, New York, there is a report of a missing baby. I believe this baby is me. I believe that I was kidnapped or missing, taken by a family member to Israel. My memory in Israel is from age 4. I'm the love's child of 2 big Sicilian families, and my mother is blank. I believe I was born before her marriage to blank. I don't have my birth certificate. I'm sure my DNA will match the ones that FBI and CIA has in the DNA bank. I'm willing to prove it with forensic genetic test. My parents are Sicilian and I am in blank. From mother's side, from father's side, from father. My father is blank from blank. I believe that the name that was given to me at birth, blank. I believe that Maxwell knew the connection, Israeli, Italian, Epstein, and the money of my heritage / beneficiary of my shares, and took the steps to control my life and dethralled the authorities using my identity. Therefore, Maxwell stated, it's not my money. I understand that she enjoys a close relationship with Kardashian sisters, spelt right this time, who helped her use my identity, and there are rumors of using my eggs for conceiving, brackets, need to do a DNA test, but I don't know if this is correct. I need to check the Las Vegas family court and all annulment filed, blank, and the JPO not to move stepdaughter from the state. When I asked why the judge wrote this on the order and why the annulment has the correction of the judge assistant on the decree LCD, I got stupid answer for that. She said that letters on the annulment and the children is a mistake in the order, and I don't buy this explanation and believe one of... That was a weird way to end a sentence. It says, I believe that when he died, she wanted to clean all me from my rights and therefore created this condition of thief identity and change name. This was taken speed after Epstein had died. The mind is Maxwell, who has personal knowledge of me. I never met her or any member of the Kardashians or Jenner sisters. This point need to be checked in documents of the financial enterprise of this family. Sure, we'll definitely look into that. As you can learn from the documents, every time her group, wanted to use fake love condition of marriage so they can move my children around with the help of corrupted judge and corrupted police officer and corrupted attorney Nick Donovan Esquire and Linda Donovan Esquire, right? Tell blank, who I believe used my confidential information and personal relationship all these years, facilitated Epstein and Maxwell financial transaction on my behalf without my knowledge or consent, and have a bad report on my character to gain financial gain unlawfully since 2008 and in 2016. Court proceeding, Nassau surrogate court, and currently prior to Maxwell arrest. He helped them to have conceal my identity in Social Security and IRS. By doing so with the intention to keep his law office successful, he took my funds and diverted them to the wrong account, including the receiving of child support payments from me as the custodian parents, blank. The caseworker that opened compliance in tax offset unit is Irina Svetnikova, blank, and Alia Pirogovskaya, blank. Paid $26,000. On January the 8th, 2020, after losing the appeal in the first appellate division, blank. Since then, payment, all my financial and banking was in irregulatory and fraud in the transaction. Every time that I didn't a transaction, it was duplicated with a different account. I used to transfer money between my accounts because I had limited funds. My debit card was $300 and my credit is secure up to $1,500. After marriage to blank and around the end of January, February, they have emptied all my accounts. I had no money to buy food. We got to get to the end of this. In 2010, I have filed with the family court in New York City petition to protect my daughter blank 2010 from her father S harassment. There was the interview with the DA in New York City. It's tiring. She referred us to Nassau, where the intake and interview was done with an officer in Nassau without me present, and it was a male. No one continued with the process, and Judge Goldstein in family court gave him visitation 2 hours on Sunday, Upper East Side. What kind of a judge wanted to incarcerate me, the mother, who protecting her little daughter and send the kids back to S and physical abuse with the evidence that this happened? Since then, I believe the essay of my children continue. Myself was essually harassed by NASA, who told me that I am not paid because I don't let him feel like a man. He stole from me the building blank. I bought it for NASA Group under the name Gila Capital from Jonathan Schultz, tell blank, which was the receiver of Bank of America and Leona Hemsley estate. I never got my fee or rights from him. It's tragic, right? Just in December 2019, my daughter came home crying from her late father home, but didn't say a word, and I have a feeling that it was connected to the visit of Maxwell and my building at the same time. I don't know who Maxwell was meeting, but I know that there is someone in my building. Also, my mail was stolen from my apartment, letter to court Las Vegas, and letter to bank with name change and copy of my passport to Safra Bank. Constantly, there is stealing of my rent payments from the building tenant account and registration of transfer of funds to the owner of my building on blank. Attached letter from the attorney. I have asked to speak with the owner, but they don't let me. I wanted to check how my rights are registered. Maybe I'm not a tenant. Maybe some ownership is under my name, but that's why they steal the money from the account. Regarding the identity thief, I would like to share my thoughts, for I am complaining that someone using my identity, they've used my registration to blank, Department of Private and Commercial Law, Maricola, number blank. The documents clearly show my grandfather name blank, so close to blank. Therefore, the change of name was done from blank to blank by fraud. The change of name after my marriage to blank, November the 21st, 2019, was from blank. My ex-husband blank and his accomplice in Las Vegas have done fraud on my papers in Las Vegas County Clerk and change it from blankety blank. And I've saw irregularity in my banks immediately after Maxwell visited my building. Why they did it? After sawing the news, I think I got it. She signed the name Jane McKellar on the last purchase of a home with LLC ad hoc, and after visiting my building starting September 2019 when I met my ex-husband, until her arrest there was distribution of a few big financial transactions such as Corey Inc. Cosmetics Company, purchase of Kylie Jenner Kardashian Control for $6 billion, 600 million, not sure what that means, got from the news. Real estate, Corcoran Group. I had my broker license working on project among new development, Trump Tower on 57, vodka license, Scott Diskin, again Kardashian, agreements with Bar Raffaelli and KKR, Kim and Robert, and finally the Epstein estate or blank. I keep looking to myself very similar to blank. As an Ashkenazi Jew origin in Germany, it can be spelled different in Hebrew. It's only one spelling. I believe, and based on my research and some input that I got from comments that my ex-husband blurt, that a person sign on my documents for the purpose of transfer rights, especially in the Virgin Island court regarding the heritage and with the last distribution of Corey Cosmetics, 600 million takeover control. And in vodka deals of Diskin Scott from Long Island and real estate deals under Corcoran Group. In all, this both Maxwell and Nick Donovan, attorney, and Jeff Burke, attorney, and his son Burke facilitating the fraud and the human trafficking. I am a victim of Epstein, blank, Maxwell. I was told the Kardashian sisters, Kim and all the rest, use my name and funds to promote their businesses. I don't have the documents to back this claim. Therefore, I'm leaving this to the law investigation and social services in LA. The bank account number in Bank of America under my ex-husband's name is blank. Additionally, there is fraud in IRS tax reports. In 2008, my ex-husband blank filed a joint tax return as married to blank. I believe he did the green card application with her. In his immigration file, he filed IRS report at the time I was married to him. We got divorced in March 2009. All court documents and full transcripts were filed with the Appellate Division First Department. Blank, a special attention for the blank, who insist to leave me without child support if I don't bring my daughter to physical therapy, be sexually abused. And strange, at the same time, Martha Bourgeois was appealing in the same court, asking for less punishment. I saw here in December, coming after me to Chase Bank on 44th Street and 5th Ave. I believe they have changed the name blank. And as I have heard, Maxwell used the name Jane McKellar when she purchased the new home in December 2019, the new LLC. I've never signed the affidavits for change name, and I've got the response from the court attached. With that, still someone in the Clark County Court did change and fraud my signature, and with that changed my name as an heir and beneficiary of the trust, and also limited my children's rights. I've sent to Safra Bank in Geneva. We're going to get to the end of this, I promise. I sent a letter to Safra Bank in Geneva, and I asked to see who moved the money to purchase the building blank. I've noticed that the affidavit with the letter from the CEO of the bank to send a copy of my passport disappeared. I believe that Sarah Bank Legal Department in Basel will be able to show what happened and how Maxwell did the fraud, and who the attorney that helped her to notarize the signature. It is the accountant Joram Raidos from Forest Hill, or Nick Donovan Esquire blank, or Michael Rosenbaum blank, who is located in Florida and was the first mentor of mine and Peter Delman Esquire, telephone number blank, his past partner who mentored me as well and signed my immigration papers, Barry Silberg blank, who was my immigration attorney in 2002 to 2009, Deborah Kelly Esquire from Nassau was the fiduciary attorney of my separation agreement, Additionally, my company's blank. I was filing as a corporation. I was told by an accountant back in 2015 there are different tax reports with my name, including the mentioned blank was registered in Florida blank. Florida 2020 blank. 2006. All needs to be checked. The financial reports, since I believe the financial reports are different from what I was filing. This is a thief identity. Fraud in financial documents, IPO that I have done with Nick Donovan Esquire for H&S Equities, which was owned by Sergey Hoyda from Great Neck. The properties are located in the Lower East Side of Manhattan with an offshore shell company in Cyprus. I believe that Maxwell and another woman, Mikhail from Miami, who is known to be the Madam of Tiger Woods, did fraud with the intention to defraud my legal rights and monetary compensation. I've been told that they are stealing the funds involved in this deal and that with the Kardashian family and the sisters are involved in using my name. I've been told that Khloe and Kendall have a special interest in my marriages and change of name. I bet. To mention, I have never met any of them personally or had contact with them in this regard. I've sent revocation to the attorney Gottman Bruce in order to eliminate damages while this is being investigated. This group of individuals are including the businessman Sergey Hoyda, Yair Levi, all Israelis, and Frank Calabresi. I was working in each place 1 year or less at the years 06 to 09. Oh my God. All were in a business relationship with my ex-husband, blank. I feel sorry for her ex-husband. For years, I was trying to get my son out of their hands. I have no doubt that my son, who had to go through a liver transplant at the age of 25, was abused mentally, physically, and emotionally by this group. Rosario and Morgan the magistrate were laughing in my face. One time, Morgan told my ex-husband that he is getting 21 and what will be with the money. They had a plan to make him entitled to disabilities. I never understood why a father would like a doctor to make him disabled. Now I think there was big sum of insurance money and also pension disabilities rights in the other file. I never knew why I am hitting walls when it is so obvious that he is being extremely abused. This Maxwell woman wanted my son, and I'm just wondering who was the one that was abusing him. My son filed reports, and the police told him that he will be in jail if he reports. My son never talks anymore about this, and it is still going on. The person that sold my son was his father, and the Ava Bush and Maxwell. My marriage to blank made my son's situation even worse. On another note, the name Kim Kardashian was mentioned by Loretta Julie, who was Tiger Woods' mistress. And I've wrote a book about it in 2010. Crazy. He's a good writer. As the one who is in competition with me over my name, identity, and children, I thought it's a joke. Now, after the exit of $600,000 million in the cosmetic company Corey Inc. and in the fraud in my marriage and all the pregnancy surrogate, I am not sure that it's a joke. She mentioned horrible things happening in the island, including the dead mask on and was tied to a tree. Okay, first body, that's crazy. She said that the one from London was very mean and also the one from Miami. Also that the man in the mention was making her effing black guys and that he liked to watch it. She was young, high school student in Oceanside, Long Island. She also said that her friend Ashley Massarow, who died in 2019, the WWE, got pregnant in high school. They both worked for Maxwell and Michala from Miami, Florida. Moreover, since I believe that in Social Security there are two files, in 2014 to 15 I filed a complaint with the Social Security in main office, New York City. Nothing was done to protect me. The opposite. They didn't believe me. I believe that in California, where I was living with my ex-husband, blank, there is one file with the name blank, and that the woman pretended to be me, blank. In New York, the file is blank, and that's me. In the IRS, I'm sure that the trust/corporation is connected to the Social Security, like blank. I've filed numerous complaints with the FBI in 2010 and in 2014 and 2015. I've mailed the Homeland Security to check if there's another person with my name. Now I understand that there's another Social Security with a missing person, and I don't know when the identification was made, but it's wrong. I would like to check the 2008 tax report to the IRS that my ex-blank filed as married to blank. Maybe used also the name blank. She worked in Brooklyn and I met me at Cochrane, later socialized with me, and I think it was just in order to use my identity, quote, all his wives, and the daughter blank. We're nearly at the end of this, man. Like, come on. I believe that in Israel, there is a person that has the power, money, and connection to organize this big scam. They must be in Israel. The Prime Minister is Netanyahu. Netanyahu is familiar with my case. He was having me and my Israeli father in his house for his boy's birthday celebration in 2001. Sarah Netanyahu knows my ex-husband blank, sometimes spelled blank. Personally, they've met in New York with me in 2007, 2006. Bib Netanyahu and his wife Sarah know me personally. I've been told that Sarah Netanyahu was acting as my girlfriend, and I'm sure there's a report in the Prime Minister's office about my identity, and using Bibi Cousin as my attorney was a big mistake of my Israeli father, who passed away in January 2009 from liver cancer. I have done the Israeli army And I'm sure that there's a file of me. If you did that, there would be a file. Currently, the most acute situation is that my brother is being extorted and placed in the hospital when COVID spread. I believe that the fraud action will continue in Israel, where the doctors are asking me to be a donor to my brother blank, who is not my biological sibling, and by doing medical fraud will actually kill him with my blood. This is the final stage of the scam. Hope it's the final stage. It's important to understand that my brother will die if Maxwell and blank plan will succeed. If no one believes me, then by forcing me to donate bone marrow to my brother, who is not my biological brother, thanks for letting me know, and forcing me to hide my origin and identity, my brother will die because of a bad blood transplant. The doctors in Israel gave me a letter stating that I am 100 Mac as a sibling. I guess 100% match. They want to kill him for gaining financial rights. I've approached the Israeli police and my PCP, sounds like some PCP was involved, and the cancer center in Mount Sinai. In summary, let's recap. 1. I'm asking to file a complaint against Maxwell and her accomplices in this crime against me and my family members. And I would like to release my son from the holding of this group. I would like to get my son blank freedom from the brood by his father, who donor in the liver operation, which I claim as a cover-up to the brutality my son went at the time in his father's house till now, and by others blank. Maxwell ring, and to disconnect any transfer of his rights to anyone else, including his human rights and liberty, will be granted to him back by a court order. Return all of his rights that was violated all this time till and while I was married to the blank, my 3 times husband. Additionally, I would like to get compensation for all of the stealing of rights and monies from Epstein and Maxwell actions, and to stop all of the procedures in the Virgin Island regarding the execution of the estate and transfer of money to a trust. I would like to reserve my right/heritage/beneficiary in the estate, and to reverse any fraud of my legal rights as a victim of S trafficking by my husband and the SA of years of myself, my daughters, and my son. 2. I would like to restore my original identity and to know what happened with my heritage and me when I was a baby. 3. I would like to know if there was a use of frozen eggs and or embryo, and if there were children who were conceived with the use of my eggs/IVF without my knowledge or consent or any legal rights. I have fraud in my NYS health insurance, and my policy has changed ID number 3 times since 2020. That's 3 different files. I had hackers on my computers and emails, and while I was in Israel from June the 15th to July the 8th, someone broke into the place that I was in isolation for 14 days because COVID, and I had to see my brother in the hospital. And they used this to do fraud in my account in Bank of America, New York, and LA. Account number and tax reports of the company blank. Tax was filed by my ex blank in the court of Los Angeles blank with blank, who used to continue with her relationship with him prior and after marriage. I believe she also used my identity in corporate papers and tax reports. I believe that on the flight to Austria in January 10th, 2020, and on the flight from London to New York on March the 16th, 2020, there was a woman who used my identity to transfer rights in Austria. 5. I would like that all procedures in the Virgin Islands Epstein estate will be held under the scrutiny of the US Attorney General Office in regards to my identity, proven DNA, and Francis evidence of the bone and medical records. Number 6 and 7 are so there's 2 number 7s. There's a number 7, then a 6, then another 7. 6, 7. So there's a nice little 7, then a 6, 7. All right. So this is definitely, this whole article is given 6, 7 vibes for sure. I would like to receive all marriage certificate and transfer of name and assets done by Gianluca Croc Esquire blank, who notarized our marriage certificate and mailed it to Italy, Milano. Not sure in Milano or Roma. And the attorney Brouch Gottsman Esquire, who was referred to me by ex-husband blank for the annulment and for the transaction involving my rights and children rights, including stepdaughter as mentioned in the Vegas court order. The doctor, Professor Shimoni Tel Hashima, who is responsible in Israel for the fraud of finding the MAC of bone marrow transplant between me and my brother, which is basically attempt to murder. Basically attempt to murder, knowingly that we are not biologic sibling and infecting on me badly harm. My brother was hospitalized on March 17th, 2020 with my return from Austria. He was not sick before. I am reserving my rights of the US Constitution. It's not in court setting now to protect against self-incrimination in this correspondence, and the 6th Amendment right to be presented by an attorney in any witness situation while being asked to provide any additional information. Questions by government authorities. I'm willing to answer my questions and provide any documents that I will be asked for by the USA Attorney Office. I would like that my son blank be protected and moved from my house for me to take care of all of his needs. My brother in Israel in blank to be protected from wrongful death. Thank you for taking the time to review and consider my email. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, what do we think? Do we think there's some validity to that? I'm not going to lie, all right? I hadn't read it. I'd seen the headline. I was thinking maybe there's going to be, maybe Epstein was like an early investor. Maybe he was involved in some of the business. Yeah, that's sounding like the ravings of an unhinged lunatic, all right? I'm not going to be unkind, all right? You know, protect the victims. We've got to believe the victims. I think there are a lot of victims that have been hushed under the rug. That read like a whole load of baloney to me. That read like a whole load of nonsense. And it actually makes me sad because there are people that are actually really suffering with serious mental health issues in the world. And this is clearly one of them. You know, it just is what it is. I'm just going to keep it very real. This is clearly a person suffering from mental illness that has seen something on the news that's triggered them, and they have just brain dumped a bunch of stuff into an email to the FBI. Now, I do think that these types of things, even being included in the Epstein files, are unfortunately muddying the waters for many of the true or potentially meritable claims that are actually in need of investigation. And stuff like this makes you think, well, why are we going to investigate any of this nonsense? And it's unfortunate because this type of absolute raving lunacy actually makes it harder for real victims to get justice. Now, look, okay, I wonder where she's got all of these ideas from, because look, the Kardashian family, they do have a well-documented history of surrogacy, and it does make me wonder whether she's seen, you know, something like this on the news or on social media and basically convinced herself that, you know, she's wrapped up in all of these things. It reads like a real who's who of just like, I've seen the Kardashians on the news, I've seen Epstein on the news, you're seeing things on the news, Israel, oh, it's always Israel, and just weaving that together into a completely unhinged narrative. But I mean, look, maybe this is the type of thing that she was watching, like stuff like this.
I am very honest about my surrogacy journey, and I was so scared to be so honest because you think it's not normal that a mother doesn't feel an instant love for their baby. But then I did a lot of work, and I am obsessed with Tatum now, of course.
Of course you are.
Of course. But it took me months. Like, I'm not going to lie. It just, he was my baby, but there wasn't like, especially having True, I had something to compare it to.
Yeah.
My sister Kimberly has 2 children via surrogacy, and she has a very different experience than I did. Hers was great and everything was fine. So her going through that gave me more comfort to go through mine. But then I even felt more guilty when I still felt so disconnected and she didn't.
So it's deep, right? But like, these are the sorts of things you're seeing. You know, nothing but Epstein files in the news. You know, just never-ending Epstein files claimed in the news, right? So you're watching the Kardashians, you're hearing a bunch of nonsense about Israel, and you know, you weave that into a narrative. If you're completely unhinged, maybe you're schizophrenic, and you just start firing off emails to the FBI. That's what I think. Now, Redditors have reacted to this with their own theories, okay? And interestingly enough, it's funny because it's like the way that tweet made it look, it made it seem credible. And now we've read it. I don't like to put anyone down, but they made the actual transcript of what was said so small that ain't nobody going to check that out and read that, right? But now look, story checks out. Story doesn't check out. It is the news of a raving lunatic. And what's funny is that this is now getting posted on various subreddits, right? This is the Kardashians. The Chalamet. I didn't know Timothy Chalamet and the Kardashians had a shared community. But anyway, people are just taking that headline and now they're running with it like it's true. They're saying Kanye wasn't lying. Courtney dated Joe Francis, creator of Girls Gone Wild. While Francis resides in Mexico, where he's avoided returning to the US due to outstanding legal issues. Please spread the news more and more. They're trying to suppress this information. See, that's hilarious. Now I've read you everything that's in there. That comment is hilarious, right? Bro, they're trying to suppress this information. You got to give it. Hey, listen, I'm gonna give it to me. All right. Nobody else could be bothered to read that whole thing. All right. Too long didn't read. All right. You know what I'm saying? Congratulations. Sorry for your loss or congratulations. Like, I ain't got no time to read for that. After Balenciaga had children surrounded by alcohol and BDSM, where Kim continues to rep them. They're scum, all right? They're scum. The Kardashian family was close with Diddy. It's quite suspicious because they still work with Lou Taylor, Diddy's former manager. And there's even rumors that Lou Taylor trapped Britney Spears into a conservatorship and funneled her funds into the Kardashian family business. Kind of not a rumor at this point. Surrogacy is a form of... I hope people stop romanticizing it. Nobody read it. 100% believe this. Everyone that says Kim is the sweetest, nicest person, those who can't see the narcissistic fraud, are fools. I hope this takes down their entire sleazy empire, the fakest of the fake. This is the first time I've ever seen this sub. It was recommended to me, but this is horrifying, but not surprising. Did you read it, though? Did you read it? To be honest, I would genuinely not be shocked at all if major figureheads and the most famous people in entertainment and Hollywood have ties to this. And by that, I mean the extremely rich and powerful ones. Maybe this is the real reason she's been studying law. Bingo! Kim's a groomer and I will die on that hill. Did you read it? But did you read the files? Did you read the files? Maybe someone's read the files. Look at this. Can someone explain to me what this is all saying? I tried to read it, but I'm having a hard time understanding. Saying in summary, it's an affidavit submitted to the authorities by a woman claiming to be a victim of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. In the statement, she details allegations of abuse, identity theft, legal manipulation, and financial fraud. You forgot the bone marrow theft that occurred over several years. The narrative mentions various public figures, including the Kardashian-Jenner family. According to her, Maxwell maintained a close relationship with the Kardashians. She further claims, based on third-party information, that her name funds linked to her were used in Kardashian-related business activity. Yeah, the most famous people in the world wanted to use your identity, you just random nobody. Additionally, she asserts major public financial transactions, such as the deal between Coty and Kylie Jenner, were connected to the movement of funds associated with her identity. They stole her $600 million. Nobody read this. This person didn't even read this. This person didn't even read it. I mean, did I look at the wrong document? It's the same doc. I don't think anybody read this. I'm the only person that read this. You're welcome. Right? Are we surprised? Are we surprised you read it? Source. Epstein files. Here's the link. Did you check it out? Did you check it out? See, all of the sensible ones are getting downvoted. Why on earth would the Kardashians need to steal eggs or traffic eggs when they have enough money to buy them legitimately? They're out here trafficking eggs. Duh. We're not surprised. Appalling bloody family. They should be behind bars. It's nonsense, right? It really doesn't say anything other than suggesting that there were business dealings and surrogacy dealings that were illegal or they broke the law, but that's it. It even says the person didn't have any documentation to support their claims. Nobody read, not a single person read it. Not a single person read it. Is this the same complaint hotline that mentioned Pusha T and Jay-Z? Look, I'm on YouTube, right? Sensationalizing, interesting things and making them sound interesting. But I would never pop out and lie and act like what I just read sounds like a credible claim against the Kardashians, right? Absolutely no way in hell would I believe that. So this isn't the Kim Kardashian snark subreddit. Definitely joining that. Same thing. They're posting the tiny little screenshots. Can't see what's going on. So is nobody? I'm literally the only person that's read this. So is this saying their surrogates were victims? Allegedly so. It's also saying they stole eggs from the surrogates as all their own eggs were bad. I'm sorry, but this makes me doubt the whole thing. I'm Kim's biggest hater, but her kids look like her. Obviously favor Kanye, but they're still clearly her kids, lol. Also, Kim was obsessed with having mixed kids and fetishized it her whole life. Her surrogates were black. She's so shallow and racist that I genuinely don't think she'd pick black women to be her egg donor. All right? It just sounds like nonsense. Oh my God, please let it be the beginning of their downfall. They have to be involved in some shady business. They just have to be. That's why we call her Chris Lane. That's hilarious. But you guys didn't read shit. You didn't read anything, did you? Nobody read anything. Nobody read anything. I'm only surprised they weren't named in connection with Epstein sooner. Didn't read it. Official numbers of people shocked by this news revealed, 0. Official number of people who actually used brains and read this. None. 6, 7. Okay. I've heard that they were in Diddy's circle as well. I'm convinced Chris sold Kim's soul for the riches and fame they have now. Well, Kim stole from Brandy to start their first Dash store, so identity theft and using victims' identities to fund other businesses sounds legit to me. You didn't read it, did you? Possibly using a private person and paying them as a surrogate instead of using an agency kind of tracks too. It kind of tracks, right? Kind of tracks. I read Virginia Giuffre's book, Nobody's Girl, and she was supposed to be a surrogate for Epstein and Maxwell. She didn't really want to do it, but agreed because she didn't want them to hurt her family. Her payment for that was an actual massage course in Thailand, and that's where she met her husband. And instead of returning to America, she immigrated to Australia. Wonder if Kim or Khloe used one of their victims to be their surrogate because it's more private and they think they can just do that instead of going through an agency. I don't know. That's just me connecting some dots from some other things I know. All of it's alleged. All of it is unread. Okay. Just nonsense. They've been hiding in plain sight. They think they're untouchable, but I would love to see their stolen empire burn. Hot take, but I feel like even if it's a bit nefarious how they made it, y'all, this makes 0 sense. Kendall doesn't even have kids. Kylie and Kourtney didn't use a surrogate. Khloe only used a surrogate for Tatum. Kim is the only one who used surrogates for everyone except North, and all of her kids clearly resemble both her and Kanye, especially for Chicago. I'm all for hating on the Kardashians, but this doesn't make any sense at all. So many people are taking random hotline tips seriously. There's a bit of sense down here now. It says, please remember that anyone can submit a complaint about anything. The Cardis are absolutely horrible and are tied into their own money laundering issues, especially with that one lady who stole Britney's money. right? Seriously, I'm all for their downfall, but none of this has been proven. I know they're not as rich as they let on to be, but I highly doubt they would use an underage surrogate and steal her social security number. It's a huge accusation with zero evidence. This is where snarking crosses a line. We can criticize them without making up crimes just because we don't like them, okay? I need to see the emails. Well, go have a look at them then. Use your brain. Use your brain. Use your brain, okay? All right, this is the last little Reddit snark that I'm going to give you on this. And this one, they actually did post the actual stuff so that you can read it, right? They pasted the same thing from the tweet, and they did post a slightly higher. You couldn't read that, and nobody's reading that. And what's the betting that nobody in the comments read it either? Is there a version of this that wasn't taken with an LG chocolate somewhere that I can find? And everybody's so distracted by the LG chocolate reference, they just forget what they're talking about. Do you have the file number? I'd like to read this myself, but it's too blurry and there's too many fakes circulating now. I wouldn't doubt this, though. The surrogacy thing always seemed bizarre. What surrogacy thing? This is what I found. I'm not sure if this is what they're talking about, though. See, they just got ChatGPT. Not remotely surprised they're kissing ass with the most corrupt and evil politicians and figures. This evil follows evil. Not surprised at all. Chris's sketchy water company Instagram. I feel like this implicates Lou Taylor more than anyone else. It really adds another dimension to the financial fuckery theory she's been engaged in. This individual claims to be an attorney, but this is very poorly written and difficult to follow. It appears she's claiming the Kardashians falsely used her identity to promote their businesses and potentially used her eggs. I don't expect anything to come of this, but I'm sure that circle has blood on their hands somewhere, okay? Could this be the actual thing that takes them down? They can't escape from... I think, guys, Kardashian haters, I think they're going to escape from this. I think they're going to be fine from this one. Could be something else, but I think they're going to be fine, okay? Look, I did think it was interesting, okay? I did see the headlines. I saw the tweets. I wanted to dig into this. I'm glad I dug into it properly and used my eyes and my brain to actually discern that this was the ramblings of a disconnected lunatic. But okay, it is very important. Okay, we got to sort the bullshit from the factual, all right? And we've seen some things that have been very, very chilling. Don't let them muddy the waters with this lunacy and distract you from the fact that real horrible things were going on in the world with this trafficking conspiracy, because that's what it was. Okay, let me know what you thought of that down below. Did you skip me reading the whole thing, and do you just want to believe this? You want to believe the Kardashians are finally happening? Great to see their downfall. Or do you agree with me that really, just based on the balance of probabilities, what I just read was not true? Just what little critical thinking skills that I do have, that wasn't true. I don't know. Let me know what you thought, man. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'm out for now. Peace.